Nighttime stream. Welcome back. Okay, let's just get straight into it. Straight back into the trial. Have one sip of drink. Ooh. Let's go. Volume down so that I'm not too loud. Let's go.
Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
Alright, no matter who Van Zykes brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. And I'll keep believing until the very end. Until this battle is over. I'm hoping to see the prosecution finally actually crack. Because obviously last chapter, he didn't actually crack. Like, he just got bullshitted. Like, he literally got wrecked. Like, I don't even know. I'm very interested to see what happens when he loses fair and square. Hopefully. Who knows? Maybe he won't lose fair and square. Who knows? Maybe this will be another guilty client or some absolutely crazy twist. But I can't help but feel like this is meant to just be like the calm, just a normal crime. No weirdness, please. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. More voices. Da, sir, instead of sir, sir, instead of sir, sir. Constable Rolly Bait, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir. He is the Mike Meekins of this game. You can just feel it.
I know I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honourable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. 20 miles a day or something.
Indeed, apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge through some 20 miles a day. No, they patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters are reading true, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't be just falling asleep on my feet. I'd have collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honour. Yeah, he really looks it. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly?
Motorcycle. Nice.
Constable Rolly Bait, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir.
what a great witness he's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. We'll tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident. Yes, sir.
It was our wedding anniversary, and Aunt Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box.
Why'd you need a nearby police box when he's a policeman?
It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him clear as day.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say.
Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established, the summation examination, will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place.
What an unfortunate mischance. And on your wedding anniversary, too.
Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. Thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without a doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And on one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking.
Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Miss Beat?
Oh no, sadly not.
No, this voice has changed like 5 times.
Oh no, sadly...
No.
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children and the elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you?
I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
What? I just finished my beat. Yes, sir. I just finished my beat.
Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there.
Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, Rolly. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognise you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you'd finished your beat for the day, correct?
That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop.
I need to make him sound more tired.
To be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet, the police is in my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and queen to the end.
What's that now?
My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of force written on it as a reminder to us all as policemen of our sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure.
So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then?
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Speed puts up with a lot, being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat. Oh, really? Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold.
If a little over the top, perhaps.
And then kindly describe what happened next.
Hold it! 2 silhouettes.
That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Seems like in that... Yeah, the silhouettes, right? Well, Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain at the time there was nobody else nearby?
Yeah, oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are street lights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? Sir? What? Oh yeah, that's right. Of course. There was a light fog on the ground. The Briar Road is dead straight, and you can see fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians.
Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said?
Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day every day keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. As I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, really?
Is this going to be at the end of every press? They're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. So we really do need to bank on this whole... It seems so odd. Okay, from this comment from Ryunosuke, it sounds like we're banking on... It seems like we have to bank on the fact that he went the alternate route. Let's check through the evidence again. We have to bank on him going the long way round. Because if he didn't go the long way round, that person would have been him. We really need to show that this witness didn't really see Mr. Natsume. I'm thinking perhaps that somebody saw the event on Kabalash Road, who then used that knowledge to pin the crime on Mr. Natsume by moving the books. Perhaps. Dun 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 dun. This has got to be used again, right? Other than it being your books. The fact that we don't know the victim's name as well. And this knife is just kind of weird.
It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed?
All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and the other scattered something before running off.
Hold it! Scattered something? What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time.
I'm thinking this voice is too similar to a bunch of other voices. I'm tempted to make it a little bit more nasally.
But then when we got closer, we realised what it was. Didn't we, darling?
That's, yeah, a small change.
What? Oh, yeah, that's right. It was some old books.
I see. Old books.
Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them, all around where the victim lay on the pavement.
Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print.
That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Hold it! Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker.
Well, we saw him. It was the man in the dock without question, sir. The moustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything.
Any more insults you want to throw in?
That's right. He looked down at that poor defenceless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes. And then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue.
Yes, sir.
Dun, 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 dun. Hold it! Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling? What? Oh, yeah, that's right. I asked Miss Beat to go.
They're scarves. Is that the same scarf that was on the snowman? Not sure.
I was off duty by that point. The Bob is never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance, as we learned last chapter.
That's why I sent Patricia, see? I told her where to find the right police box.
Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box?
Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under, so she could go and report it. I ran there as quickly as I could, and asked for help from the bobby on duty. There is nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of 2 model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush, isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir.
Let's move on, shall we? Right, this is the questionable bit. Hold it! But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
We absolutely could. Oh, we absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
Yes, all right, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was the little Japanese fellow that we saw. Can't we, darling? What? Oh, yes. It was the accused, no mistake. The moustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir.
As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Soseki-san they saw running away from the scene of the crime. Okay. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beats saw what they say they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
If that's true, where does it leave us?
The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony.
Oh no! Then what should we do?
If Kazuma-sama was here,
What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony.
Do you mean somewhere else?
Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of the testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate.
Oh, right.
But simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion.
Ugh. Why do I always seem to be so up against it?
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it.
What? No, oh, no, it's not that at all.
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything. Like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I could tell you the names of every single one, I could. Every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
That will do, Miss Beat.
No, it won't do at all. This Japanese lawyer has got no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Rowley will.
I really didn't mean to cause offence. Please put your husband's fists down.
Perhaps you would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Beat. Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That will settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling?
Go on, do it then. I dare you.
Hold it!
Hold it! Yes, we know there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. Those purchased by the accused at the nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question.
After I'd been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I'm a proud policewoman's wife, after all. I did it for Rowley.
And what was your husband doing at the time?
Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling?
This interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime.
Well, Mrs. Beat, seeing as you've regaled the court with your tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene?
I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening?
Oops.
There was the picture of Monsieur somebody of other. Was it Yearnings? Then there was, Meal for someone. And the last one was definitely the Thingummy something. You see?
Yes, I see there are one or two holes in your memory.
Oh well, they're all along those lines. I'm quite sure.
4 books, though, is the main thing. There were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it.
Well, what did I tell you? Oh, I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling? Sir, anyone who upsets my Patricia will have me to answer to.
Terrifying. Yes, she really is. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem... There's always going to be the new statement, as we know. Objection!
Objection!
Objection! So, you're saying there were 4 books?
That's right. I remember all of them. A picture of Monsieur somebody, what's it Yearnings, Meal for someone, and the Thingummy something.
Picture of Monsieur Lecoq. A meal for Gabriel. Canterbury Yearnings. Thingum is something. There's a book missing. Oh, okay. What is this 4th book? I'm sorry, Miss Beat. But there is a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no! What flaw?
Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
What?
This is the receipt from the bookshop, where the defendant bought the books.
Your books?
Yes, and it details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
Only 3? But, oh no, that can't be. I remember seeing them. There were 4 books, I tell ya. 4 dirty old books.
Oh really? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see from this evidence as well, there are only 3 books.
But I just don't believe it. I saw them there. I swear it. I saw them.
No, madam, I'm afraid your powers of observation cannot be relied upon. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! No!
Objection!
Objection. Oh, what a joke. It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene, a fact that you know very well to have no hope of disproving. Ah! So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? Ugh, he sees right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect.
Oh!
You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection!
Objection! But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Oh, you simple-minded Nipponese fool. As you can imagine, the 4th book is obscured by her rather plump body. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say? Allow me to present another, one that shows the victim's hand. Ooh, so he didn't bring this evidence out earlier because there's a hint in it that I might like. You know how it is. Ooh, ooh. Oh my god. This is Garda. The Lion's Pride. Oh my god, it's just what we needed. It's the breakthrough. Okay, I'm gonna try and predict how this is gonna go down. Did Mr. and Mrs. Garradub open their window? I don't think they did. I think they made an effort of saying that we didn't open our window because it was so cold. Right? So how did the book end up in the victim's hand? And it was already burnt. So during their squabble, which was before Natsume got home, maybe Mr. Garradub is hiding something more. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso, No! No! Dun, 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 dun.
Order! Order!
There, you see? You see? Look at that! Look, look, look!
Yes.
It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling? Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh, yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody or other.
That's Monsieur Lecoq. The picture of Monsieur Lecoq.
What's it, yearnings?
Canterbury yearnings.
A meal for someone?
A meal for Gabriel, in fact. As the court just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Rowley? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless.
But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Miss Beat mentioned 4. Oh, 3's nothing. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly the 4th book is that which is shown in the photographic print.
I'm sorry, Counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt?
It is not odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book?
I wonder what became of that 4th book.
Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence.
You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court. Please, Counsel.
My pleasure, my lord. Well, we got some info out of Van Zykes. Well, alright. We can't call that a failure. The prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my learned friend, but your resistance up until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? Walked right into this, didn't I?
You see, everything we've said is true. Isn't that right, my darling? Yes, pet. Marry me, pet.
So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions. Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid that we are in a terribly precarious position.
I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now?
Objection!
Objection! I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend, it's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... Ugh, I can't think of what to say. He's fallen back to Chapter 1, Ryunosuke.
If I may, Lord Van Zyke.
No, why is she going Irish again?
Susato Mikotoba, if I may, Lord Van Zykes. It seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
Oh!
I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you'll have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable.
Mr. Naruhodo!
One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance. So, the court will hear you, madam.
Go ahead, Miss Susato, please. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all looked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further?
Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been looking for.
It's burnt, is number 1. Yeah, it's burnt.
Oh, look at this! This book has been badly burned.
You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this state. Especially not the latter pages.
What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently.
The book, recently damaged by fire. Now why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? The title.
Let me see. It's a book entitled The Lion's Pride.
I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all. So it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute! The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I have heard of a book by that name before. Very recently too.
It's a title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible.
Yes, I understand. And thank you, Miss Susato. This is it. Susato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord.
Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case and has hitherto been overlooked.
Take that! Take that! The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book, found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
Objection! We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know.
Ugh!
Yes, I'm afraid, Counsel, I must concur with the prosecution matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. You will identify this clue at once. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, yes, my lord. It's the Naruhodo. I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means you may very well be on the right track. Yes, I think you might be right.
So, counsel, Santa, so, counsel, precisely where is the vital clue to this case, which this fourth book conceals?
Say that!
Got it!
Got it! Got it! There you go. I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
The back? What are you? Good gracious! It's been burnt to a crisp.
So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Objection! Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponese friend? Oh! Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, then there is nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day, you better get on with it, man. Pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? A charred book, by the name of the Lion's whatever. There is just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance certainly, but it's worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, then, counsel. Explain this theory of yours. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from the fire damage this sorry tome has suffered?
My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth. About the book's owner.
I beg your pardon?
We already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor. After all, it's obviously hers. The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers.
Good gracious, how can you possibly?
Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry.
Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. How about a double penalty? So tell the court, who do you claim who is the owner of this burned book?
Say that right.
Order. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burned book?
Take that!
Take that!
The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb, the landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garrideb herself.
Oh my goodness!
Me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mrs. Garridob's wife. I'm not Mr. Garridob's wife. I'm his maid.
Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Things would be so much easier if you just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garridob's house?
I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
Objection! This is outlandish behaviour. This woman is the accused's landlady, you say? You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
Objection! This is not mere conjecture. The defence happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garridob's house.
Good Lord! What sort of incident, Counsel?
A fire, my lord. What the hell was his voice again?
Afraid to say it was.
No.
Happened in the blink of an eye, you know? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know? The whole place filled with smoke. I couldn't see a bally thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up. No, the bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of it is, I lost my favourite. Book's called The Lion's Pride.
God. This is a great sprite or model, whatever. Just angry.
The Lion's Pride. By Jove, that's the very same title that's the subject of this debate.
Oh, dear me.
Objection!
Objection. This is risible. All you've told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire. In which case, it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garridob was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garridob even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful. I can't imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you, Rolly? Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir.
Dun, 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 dun. What's this theme? Dun, 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 dun. Is this the reasoning battle thing? Dun, 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 dun. Oh no, this is suspense, right? No, it's not suspense. I'm not sure what this theme is. I'm going to listen to the soundtrack a lot once I finish with this game. Ed, all my... No. I want to get his voice right.
John Garridob.
No, it wasn't posh, because he's poor.
Had all my favourite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, I'm in smoke. Then the wife started hurtling things at me. There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books coming incoming 10 to the dozen.
That was more like it.
Come 10 to the dozen. The man had his back up against the window and had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious! Are you suggesting that the book was thrown through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
Objection! No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted at the very evening of the incident, and there is no report of the Garradubs' window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garradubs' household. It is not conceivable that the window is open at the time in... Not even remotely. Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Ah! They did say that.
Does the defense postulate this scenario in all seriousness, Counsel? Do you earnestly claim that the book found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garradub's wife?
I believe it's a possibility, my lord. That's quite enough. Or is it?
That's quite enough. That's quite enough. Well, I hope that everyone can see you for what you are now, you little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. You a mean coward.
Really?
Claiming that our little tiff set the whole neighbourhood alight. Honestly, implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearances' sake. How could you? It has nothing to do with this beastly case. Not any of it. All you've done is sully our family's name.
No, I assure you, that was never my intention.
Dragging up an outstanding citizen's name through the mud simply to divert attention from your failing defence. I should box your ears. That's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable.
Too right. Here we go.
How long have we sat here now, listening to this Nipponese spouting his fancy foreign theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with the moustache. And he ran away from the scene too.
What the hell? I had a decent voice for her earlier.
I do declare...
No.
Yeah, I do declare you're right. It's true. Yes, what did I tell you?
Makes sense to me.
Sorry, what's that?
Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Sykes?
In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then, one must always exercise patience in order to savour the best vintage. No, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... Shut the fuck up. If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time. What? No, forgive the discourtesy this time. Good one.
Ahem. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Another summation examination. Alright. I'm up for it.
Thank you for that unambiguous response.
That's twice now. It's over. Mr. Naruhodo, don't give up. Mr. Sato, have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet.
You're not suggesting?
Of course, the defense has its right to another summation examination at this point. You could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance.
My lord, the defense. Sorry, it's too funny. Just dragging it out is kind of just ridiculous. The defense asks to Okay. Asks to exercise its right to a summation examination. Couldn't he just please just be really annoyed? I just want to hear him be really annoyed about it. You still believe you still have tricks up your sleeve. I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh no! To be continued. Oh, this trial is fun. I love the summation examinations too. What's the time? Let's see. I should really end it here, to be honest. Otherwise I'll be up all night. You can see the time. Yeah, that's gonna have to be it. I'm sorry. This is very fun. This is very good. I'm really loving this game so much. I think... Let's hear the first line. Okay. Yeah, how I've just been enjoying this game so much, and I'm not even on the final chapter, right? Like, let's think about it, right? This game is obviously better than Ace Attorney 1. That's an obvious. Ace Attorney 2, is it better? Yeah, by far. I mean, Ace Attorney 2 has so much, like, I mean, look at Case 3, right? It's just not, it's not up to this standard. Ace Attorney 3? Is it better than Ace Attorney 3? It's hard to say. Is it better than Ace Attorney 3? I'm gonna say it's in that same ballpark as Ace Attorney 3, and Ace Attorney 3 is one of the best games in the series, if not the best. Yeah, I don't know. Is it better than Investigations 2? I mean, what's Investigations 2 like at this point? So we're kind of like halfway through the second to last, or like getting towards the end of the second to last chapter. Ace Attorney Investigations 2, what does that look like? I think this game might be better, you know. Actually, kind of half and half, because this game it throws so many wrenches into the formula. I just realised why my eye hurts. I just got fucking disinfectant in it. I'm gonna have to wash my eyes, huh? Alright, that's it. I shall close this game.